I thought this year I'd try and play some older games for a bit to get some of that nostalgia back, and to see if the games are still fun to play today. This time it's Tekken 2. Let's find out if it's still fun. As the name suggests, Tekken 2 is the second entry in the massively successful Tekken series. There have now been 8 mainline entries in the franchise, as well as some spin-offs. The game was released in arcades in 1995, but the way I was first introduced to it was with its release on the original PlayStation console in 1996. The game was published by Namco, and if you're looking to play it, it's currently available on the PlayStation Plus Premium tier. Be warned though, if you play it on the PlayStation 5, there are no trophies available for it, so you'll only be playing it for fun. If you're just playing for that trophy pop, you won't be getting that. This is a fighting game. The character models are 3D, and the battles are mostly 2D, with you occasionally being able to sidestep, although not too often and not that well. Each of your buttons moves a different limb, with square and triangle moving your arms, and X and circle being your legs. There are a variety of different moves for each character, with there being different ones to suit your playing style. For game modes, there is Versus, which you will most likely play if you have a friend with you and the two of you can fight each other. If you're like me and have no friends though, then you're most likely to play Arcade. This is a 10 fight campaign with 7 fights against the other fighters, the 8th fight against a sub-boss, then the 9th fight against Kazuya, and the final 10th fight against the Devil. There are also other game modes, with Practice, where you can learn your moves against someone who won't fight back, Team Battle, where you can have a team fight of up to 8 people each. Then there is Survival Mode, where you get a never-ending run of fights, with your health only slightly recovering after each one. Then finally, there is Time Attack Mode, which is pretty similar to the arcade mode, but you cannot change the default settings, and you don't get a winning video if you finish it. There are lots of characters here. There are 10 default and a further 15 unlockable. I'll cover the 10 default ones just quickly, and then mention the other ones as I go along. Starting the default characters is Jun. She has this cool kick move that is useful in fights, and each of the default characters all have 2 costumes. Her first is this white shirt and black pants, which is the best one. Or she also has this blue top and blue shorts number. When completing arcade mode with the original 10, Fight 8 is against a sub-boss who you then unlock as a playable character after completing it. For Jun, you unlock Wang, an elderly character. Yoshimitsu is a samurai looking chap who has a few good moves where you can use his sword. His outfits are similar but with different hats, and one has green pants, and the person you unlock with him is Kunimitsu. Nina is an assassin. When googling this, it says she is Irish, which I was surprised at, as I always thought of her as like a Black Widow type character. She has this good roll kick and a powerful punch move, and her 2 costumes are here. She has this iconic purple dress, which is the best one, and you might not be able to see the other one, but it is on the screen here. Winning as Nina, you unlock her sister, Anna. I know I'm not going into detail on the unlockable characters, otherwise I'll be here all day, but I've always seen Anna as like the Daisy of the series. I hope that makes sense. Next is Law, and this one is pretty much just Bruce Lee. He has the backflip rainbow kicks, or whatever you want to name them, as his best move. And he has 2 looks inspired by Bruce Lee, with the shirtless and black pants, or the yellow suit. Winning as Law unlocks Bake, or Bork. I'm sorry, I'm never sure how to pronounce that. If you're not the best at fighting games, then I would recommend using Bake, as he is one you can just button bash with the kick buttons to get easy combos. Heihachi is a series icon. He has loads of power moves, and just look at his hair, it's a really strong look. He has the black martial arts suit, or shirtless with purple pants look. Both are great, and with him you can unlock Lee. Paul is this fella with spiky blonde hair, and I don't really like him that much. With the look, he just reminds me too much of Gael from Street Fighter. Maybe I don't like him though, because I'm also not that good as him. He has some good punches, but I don't feel like I have many good moves with him. Surprisingly, who you unlock with Paul though is Kuma, a huge bear, or a huge polar bear in his alternative costume. Jack too is a big robot, and I like him. He does this fall that hardly ever hits, but when it does, it looks great. For his suits, he has a bit of a boring tank top look, or he does have this cooler metal suit. And with Jack, you can unlock Prototype Jack. Next up is King. No, not that King. This is a muscly wrestler with a tiger mask, and he does a fantastic Frankensteiner. King can be in his wrestling gear or in a business suit, which I suppose still can be a wrestling gear if you have a gimmick like IRS or something. With King, you can unlock Armor King, who is similar but has a metal suit on. Michelle is a Native American character, and I find her spin after hitting useful. She has 2 costumes, one with denim shorts, jacket and a headdress, and I think it is just the colour scheme of the other one, but with a top this colour it does give off Lara Croft vibes. With Michelle you can unlock Ganryu, a sumo wrestler character. The final default character is Lei Wulong. He is a great character and he absolutely loves turning backwards. It does make these backflip kicks look good though. His costumes are, you have a kung fu one or a cop one, and as he is influenced by Jackie Chan, I just think the shirt is a stronger look on him. With Lei, you can unlock Bruce, who is like a kickboxer or Muay Thai type character. Now I did say you can unlock 15 characters, so what about the other 5? Well, after you unlock all of the above, if you win with any of the unlocked characters, you then get Kazuya. He has 2 costumes, but as a difference, he also has a 3rd costume. If you press start when you select him, you get this snazzy purple suit. Then there is Roger and Alex, a kangaroo and a velociraptor. To unlock these, you need to win with anybody, but on the 3rd fight in arcade mode, you have to finish with a great. That means that you have less than 5% health left. This is strict, as I did some really close here and these didn't count. You know if you've done it right though, as the 4th fight will then be against Roger. They are 2 different characters, but it's really just 2 different outfits as they have the same moves. Both do this great punch if you press back and square though. Then lastly, if you win with Kazuya, you unlock the final characters, which are the Devil and Angel. Again, it is 2 different characters, but they're pretty much the same with the same moves, it's just different outfits really. And the best move for both of these is this cool laser eyes. So for completing the game, you get a different winning video for each character you win with. You just heard how many there are, so I'll literally just say a few words on each. Well, there's maybe one I'll say more on later, but we'll come to that. And obviously spoilers for this part. What you get is June, in like a Disney princess in the wilderness with animals. Yoshimitsu saves someone from a helicopter whilst taking it down. Nina goes to what I presume is her dad's grave and ignores her sister Anna. Law works out with Paul, who messes up a backflip. Heihachi throws Kazuya in a volcano and flies off in a helicopter. Paul punches a rock blocking his motorbike. Jack 2 is on an island with a little girl, then lasered by a satellite. King goes to visit a family, I'm guessing it's his at Christmas, but he gets nervous, leaves the presents outside, and then the kids run out happy to see him. Michelle throws a pendant in a lake and gets the French cinematic fin. Lei shoots the end into a target at a shooting range. Wang pours out a little liquor, then has a drink himself and gives this weird expression. Kunimitsu gets a sword and chops a stone in half. Anna, I will save what happens in this for my opinions of the game at the end. Bake sits on a bench and I presume he's thinking of his dad training him. Lee is now rich and famous and happy because Heihachi and Kazuya are in jail. Kuma gets trained by Heihachi. I didn't know they were friends, but they are, and then he headbutts a wall with Paul's face on. Prototype Jack flies off and drops some screws. Armor King, we see an x-ray, then him leaving a locker room but bleeding and barely able to walk. Ganryu just stands in a sumo ring, then we see a picture of him. Bruce goes all Captain America in a punch bag, then does a cheesy thumbs up to a kid. Alex visits a dinosaur fossil, then runs and cheers. Guess he hated that dinosaur or something. Roger has a run with other kangaroos. Kazuya, this one confuses me. He stands over the defeated devil. The devil then stands up to blast him, but Heihachi runs in front of him and takes the hit. Kazuya then uses Heihachi as a shield, before running up and chinning the devil. I thought the devil was Kazuya though, so that's what confused me here. I must be missing something. Devil flies off the roof and maybe goes to the moon. Angel jumps off the roof, thinks about a few characters. I think this means that they're the same person as the devil, but then they fly back up happy. So then, that was a lot of talking, but is it actually fun to play? For the things I liked, this was just stacked with characters, and I do appreciate just how many there are. They also mostly seem like a good variety, and I do like some unique moves that some of the characters have. Obviously the Devil and Angel and Alex and Roger are pretty much the same character, but the rest genuinely do feel like they control differently. I think the character I liked playing as best was Yoshimitsu. He had several good moves that were pretty easy to perform, and all his combos were mostly just holding a direction and pressing a button, but they all looked good and were effective. Compared to the other early fighters, it's a lot less violent than Mortal Kombat, and although it has fighting animals and the Devil and an Angel, there are just several moves here that are more grounded. They look like moves you'd see in a normal wrestling match mostly, with some fantastical ones sprinkled throughout. Comparing it to Street Fighter, I also find it a bit slower paced than that. There aren't many huge button mashing combos, although that could very well be down to my lack of skill that I'm seeing it this way. The graphics have dated, but it did not detract from my enjoyment, and I think that it has good enough gameplay that you can overlook this when playing. I also admire just how many different locations there are to fight. I mean, you can't interact with the backgrounds, so it makes no difference really, but it's just more pleasant for your eyes having so many different locations. And some, like the Devil's Mirror Room, looks very cool every time. It's also just really cool that some of the old cheats still work if you play this on PS5. If you hold in the rectangle touchpad area of your controller, I'm not sure what that's actually called, but it's this bit here. When selecting a character, then you get big head mode, where the characters have slightly larger heads. It doesn't really change anything, it's just superficial, but it does look good just seeing your character with a huge head. If you hold L1 and L2 when selecting, you also get what is known as wireframe mode, and it's a nice gimmick to see, although I imagine like me you'll see it and then after a few seconds that's all you want to see of it. There are also a few options you can change, and I greatly appreciated the ability to make the fights one round instead of two, which massively sped up my completing this with every character. It was also just a harder game than I remember. Maybe a touch too hard at first, which I'll come on to, but on your way to completing arcade mode, you can just lose however many times you want, and it doesn't matter. You can always just hit continue and restart from where you lost. Finally, I also just think it keeps the balance right to be fun, and daft things in it are still funny. Not all the humour obviously works, I still have to talk about Anna's winning scene, but just playing as a velociraptor or landing a huge punch as a kangaroo, I mean that's just enjoyable to do. There is lots to still like here then, but what bits did I not like? I do like that there are 25 winning scenes and you get one for everyone, but I can't help but think that a few of them are a bit phoned in. I mean, what if your favourite character was like Ganryu or something, and then after winning you just see him stood in a sumo ring? It just seems a bit of a letdown. There are some good ones though, it's just a bit of a mixed bag. I guess it depends how they treat your favourite character, what you think of it. Then there's also Anna's winning scene. This starts off with Anna in the shower, then Nina comes in, and as Anna steps out, Nina takes a photo with a Polaroid camera. I don't know what this is supposed to be, is it blackmail or just to humiliate her? Whatever it is, it's illegal, Nina. This just stands out as a baffling inclusion in what's a pretty child-friendly fighting game. It feels a bit like when you watch those comedies you loved when you were growing up, and then you see it again decades later as an adult, and are just blown away by seeing some criminal behaviour that was just played off as cheeky at the time. I said you get to change the difficulty, but if I'm honest, I did lower this to easy after a while, as I was just getting incredibly frustrated, and even then, it feels like sometimes in the fights it just decides you're going to lose, and they block whatever you throw at them. It also seems unfair sometimes how long you stay on the floor after getting hit. Sometimes you straight back up, but other times your character just lies there, and if you get hit again before standing up or whilst you're doing so, there's not much else you can do. Luckily, lowering the difficulty level did seem to reduce this. Another minor gripe though was it just seems a bit inconsistent as well how much damage you take. I mean, just look at some of these hits that don't seem that big, but they take a huge chunk out of your power bar. It did make winning round 3 with under 5% health left to get Roger and Alex a challenge, as I would actively be letting them hit me to lower it, but then they would just hit me too hard and take away all my health. In the end I managed to do it, but I think it turned out more luck than anything, and definitely not good tactics on my behalf. Despite those quibbles though, I do like the gameplay overall, and it's not really one of those fighters where you get hit in the air and then comboed to defeat. For a 30-year-old game, I would recommend giving this a playthrough again. I know I only did one player mode, and I think that's the way I'd recommend to do it. as if you were playing with your friends, you may want a newer, more slick entry in the series, but to play on your own, battling through it with your favourite character, you can still have a good time for an hour or two. So I would say yes, it is still a fun game to play. And if you look at the ranking for how fun it is, I think I'm going to give it... give it a go. I don't think it's worth beating it with everyone like I did, but if there's a few characters you like, or just someone you want to unlock, then I think you'll have a fun time doing that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers!